We had a great chat with Storm Chief Executive Justin Rodsky. Plenty of news at the Storm, and a club that's had plenty of news as well in the last couple of days is the Parramatta Eels, and their General Manager of Football, Mark O'Neill, joins us on the line. Mark, welcome.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. How are you going?
We're well. What about the big news for you guys over the past 24 hours? Jonah Pezet officially signed as an Eel on a 12-month contract. It's strange. It's different. Talk us through how this one all sort of came to life.
Well, I actually think it's quite exciting for not only our coaches and team and teammates and our club, but also our community as well too. It happened through, I guess, the circumstances that Jonah was confronted with at the Storm, which, he made a decision there to become a free agent, if you like, and then obviously that sort of piqued a bit of interest with us. We had some depth in our halves recently, but with Dean Hawkins, who can play a lot of 7 coverage and a bit of 6 as well too at a pinch, we've released him to pursue other opportunities elsewhere. And we've got some good young kids coming through our Pathways program, and we thought that having Jonah, with his relationship that he's got with Jason, they know each other quite well. They know they've worked in successful programs together. They know what they're trying to build here at Parramatta. We thought that would be a terrific opportunity to help us be better right now, and create some competition for positions, whilst not blocking our future. But by virtue of the fact of another talented player coming into the program, it will actually set up our future nicely as well, with the young guys having an opportunity to learn, from someone that's been in a well-credentialed, program in Melbourne Storm.
Noddy and I both like the move, mate, because what it does is makes you instantly better next year. But there's obviously been some blowback from some of the Parramatta faithful. Is it because we're just not used to it? Do you think that's probably why? It's not something that we've seen all too often. I can only remember Sean Hoppy do it. I can't remember another player bouncing around like this in the past.
Yeah, definitely. I guess it's a bit unique, isn't it? But I think there's, it all had to work out well. We've got a talented player, one of the game's most exciting halves coming through at the right price, for a short time period, albeit 1 year. So we think there's a lot of mutual benefit. Obviously, there was an appeal for Jonah, and obviously there's an appeal for us. So it is a bit unique, and that might have piqued the interest of many out there. But we want to be clear. We want to get as many talented players as we can. We need to be good now and in the future. And with that depth there, you think of some of the other positions. We've got Joe Ash there that can play a bit of 1 and 6 as well. We've got Ronnie Volkman, in the halves there. Also, Mitch is obviously an elite player, which would carry incredible appeal, I'd imagine, for any young half to spend a little bit of time, with him, playing alongside him. Mitch will probably be in Origin, I would suspect, again. So there's a bit of depth there, and it also gives the rest of our team a good spine, a good structure for them to see what, great looks like as well too. So, whether it's you think of Izzy at the back, you think of our halves that I just mentioned. We've got a couple of hookers there that are doing really well in Riley and Talon, and then it can allow the rest of us to get that sort of framework sorted so we can just continually improve and be better.
Yeah, Mark, you spoke about that person, Jason Ryles, that has a relationship with Jonah Pezet. What about his first year? You must be wrapped with how he's gone. Obviously, round 1 wasn't successful, but first year coach must be really happy with how the club finished the season.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it, Noddy? You think of the first game, I think we had 50-odd put on us, and the last game we put 60 on the team as well too. So it was a big learning curve, that's for sure. One thing, Ryles, he was very clear on the style of football that he wanted to play and the type of athlete, type of player that he's after. So when you've got that clarity, it makes it easy to align and get behind. He has, taken such great interest in the community. He's driven a really good, strong culture here at the club and environment. So all the things have pointed well, and we are pretty happy where we finished the year. But it must be said, and I mean, you know this better than most, don't you, mate, that every other team's going to improve next year. Every single team's going to improve next year. So we need to make sure that becomes our starting point. our base, if you like, to launch from, and not just sit back, because whilst there was a lot of change last year, we really haven't achieved anything in the bigger picture, but we have we have got some talented players that we're excited about working with and watching them develop, and our fans should be excited about it too.
He's one of these players you're looking forward to keeping long-term. Zac Lomax, obviously rumours of R360 next year, and his name continues to pop up. Ryan Pappenhausen has taken leave from the Melbourne Storm today. So is he a person that you think if you can keep improving, he'll stay at your club?
Well, he's got an existing contract with us, Zac, and I know there's been speculation in the press about 360, and his name's been linked to a few things here and there. But all I'll say is that he's got an existing contract with us. He's played some great football this year. Obviously, pulled out with injury for the recent Test Kangaroo tour. Played Origin. Like, he's an elite player. So yeah, he's got a contract with us, mate.
Buckets, you mentioned some of the potential youngsters that you've got and not wanting to block their pathway with Jonah coming through. Who are some of those guys that we should be looking out for? And another one that you've got obviously in the midst as well is Josh Papali, who, where will he train? I guess I know that's a Jason Ryles decision, but what are your expectations of what position he'll train over summer?
Yeah, well, Joash is recovering from some recent surgery he's had on his wrist. He's an exciting talent, isn't he? So there's many positions that he could cover. Like, he's traditionally, I guess, a bit of a fullback. With his pace, how fast he is, he's obviously had a crack in the 5'8" position as well too. I'm not sure exactly. We've got a few weeks to sort out before those everyone sort of gets back on deck. We do start with our rookies on Monday. But that would be the positions. He can, do a job at 1, he can do a job at 6, he can do a job at 14. And it's good to create the competition there. Like, it's a good problem for Rolesy to have players in the mix that are as exciting as what they are. It's better than the alternative, I can assure you.
Yeah, a player I'm obsessed with a little bit is Iongi. I thought, he was outstanding for you guys this year, and obviously the huge call to move Clint Gutherson on and make way for Iongi. But I want to talk about his path into the top grade. 50 reserve grade games at a great club, stuck behind, a really good fullback. But is that a blueprint for some young guys just not to force their way or force the issue a little bit and play some New South Wales Cup games so they're a bit more battle-hardened for first grade?
I do think it is probably, a really good model, because you come in with a level of, say, football maturity as well. You played that many games, particularly for Izzy, working in a successful program with, very talented players, elite, some of the best in the world. So you get to learn those habits from that. You build your physical resilience up. You allowed your time to make some mistakes, if you like. You come in at an exciting level. I think sometimes, in general, we in clubs can be, get it mixed up sometimes and think, well, how fast can we get a player there, as opposed to how long can you keep him there? And I think that's a priority. I acknowledge that, there might be unique circumstances here and there, but I think the ideal preparation would be, to learn your craft in Cup for a bit, and then when you're absolutely ready, come into first grade. It is circumstantial, to where the clubs are, in their own cycle in terms of rebuilding. And, there are some players that we have had to play a little earlier than you ordinarily would have expected. But either way, with that opportunity and continued coaching, adapt and invariably overcome and be successful for the rest of their career.
Yeah, you talk about some of those players that have come to you, but these guys are NRL players. Dylan Walker arrived mid-season, outstanding, and the Fox, it was a big decision to take the Fox when he'd been moved on by Canterbury, and now he's over with the Ashes. Great signings, and will they be signed again in a bit more time in the future?
Yeah, well, absolutely. If I firstly start with Dylan Walker, like, that opportunity come up, and we were agile in terms of our salary cap space and had position, and it was a really good fit for us because his football IQ is off the charts. And in terms of the role he played a bit there at 14, he's incredibly skillful where he can play a bit in the halves, he can play a bit in the backs of the pinch, he can certainly play in the middle. He's tough. He's done everything he can do in the game. Represented his country, his state, won a premiership. He's played a hell of a lot of games. So he's really good for us, and he's been a calming influence for our younger guys around him as well too. So the leadership attributes is not always visible until you get to work with someone. He's been fantastic and a terrific bloke, with that to boot as well. So as for Fox, you hear Fox coming before you see him, as they say. He's always he always doesn't he? He brings a lot of energy. He's got the boombox there. He's been really good in terms of our culture and our connection with the community. It wouldn't be uncommon to see Fox if we had a fan day on or anything like that. Be the last bloke out here, still signing autographs, taking photos, and engaging with the fans and members. It wouldn't be uncommon to see that. As such, he's so generous with his time, and he just loves football, the football environment. And I feel like if we can create that environment, and you keep learning, and you're happy, you're going to play your best footy. And I think we've seen Josh return to some of his best footy this year. So we're excited by what they're going to do in 26 and potentially beyond that as well.
Yeah, someone with good experience, and I think he's playing really good football and played well this year. Jack DeBellin signed with you guys for 2 years. Obviously, second year is a club option, but you must be looking forward to that extra bit of experience coming over.
Yeah, it's a good point, Oddie. That's exactly what we're looking for. A bit of experience. I feel like we've got some younger forwards in our squad. The fellas like Luca Moratti, Sam Tuavati, Matt Dury, who we've just extended for another year, announced that today. These guys, will learn a hell of a lot from the professionalism and experience, as you mentioned, that Jack DeBellin brings. He's obviously got good tackle technique on him. He hasn't lost his legs. He can start matches. He knows exactly what it takes to be successful, and his preparation second to none. So, we think that he's going to add quite a lot to us, not only in his own performance, but how he can influence some of the others around him as well.
Yeah, as you said, the news coming through now, Matt Dury re-signed until the end of 2027. What about Bailey Simonson? I was interested in some of his comments that he made publicly in the past couple of weeks, basically putting his hand up and said that he probably could have handled things differently. Expect Bailey to be back when the bulk of the squad return to pre-season training?
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. And, I suppose you've got to give him a shout out there, Bailey. That was courageous for him to do that. It shows a level of maturity and accountability. And Bailey's a terrific person. He's a wonderful player. He's played in a couple of grand finals. He's had an injury setback that he's overcome. So we're incredibly proud of him and the way that he, handled that situation in the end there and come out. And I think he deserves to be recognised and have a bit of credit for that. And Ryles, he sees him as a big part of our squad moving forward too. So, yeah.
Can you give us an update on Ryan Matterson, please?
Ryan Matterson's currently obviously contracted with us for the 2026 season. I've just returned from overseas, and I believe he has as well too. So he's contracted with us, and when his return date is on the stage, we expect him to be back and ready to go.
Yeah, you're right. You guys just travelled over there, didn't you, to the UK for an education session. So what were you trying to find out of that, Mark? You don't give everything away, but that was educational for your club?
Yeah, absolutely. I think part of the criteria was we had our head coach, Jason, who's 1 year into the role, but has done a lot of professional development himself. We've got our chairman, Matthew Beach, who is relatively new in the role as well, and you've got Jim Sarantinos, our CEO, and myself as a chairman of footy. We thought it would be good for the four of us to go and learn the same thing to a degree from some of the, world-class organisations and environments, and see how some other people have done it, whether they've had a bit of a rebuild or whether they've, got pathways that are considered at the top, and learn all those tricks and whatever we can pull back here that can make us better is what we were looking to do. And we thought it was a pretty worthwhile trip. We've had some of the staff in today. We've shared the learnings with all of the staff and challenge the staff to say, what can you take and advance from that here? We've had a pretty good cultural shift last year, but it doesn't stop there. Let's not just, continue with that. Let's enhance it. Let's make it better. So, that's not giving away too many secrets, I don't think. But, that's what we got out of it. It was really good to see how other successful organisations do it too.
Well, exciting times ahead at Parramatta. I love what Jason Ryles was able to do in his first year, and we look forward to seeing what he can do in year two. Thank you, Mark O'Neill, for joining the run home.
No worries, guys. Thanks for having me on, and good luck with everything.